Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Creative Walks. My name is Pedro Bonatto and I am a photographer and a musician, and in this show I try to explore different aspects of creativity and living a creative life. I just came back from the gym after going consistently for a month now. Yay! I know it's not too long, but I've been out of shape for like 10 years, so I'm actually happy that I finally found a rhythm and got back to it. So today I wanted to talk about the subject that I was reminded of during my training today, which is being at the edge of your comfort. And I remember when I first started snowboarding around 8 or 9 years ago. It happened when I moved to Canada. I started to enjoy the brutal winters. I started to snowboard. And in the beginning, it was absolute terror. I was on the snow park and with almost no inclination, but I remember spending hours sweating and falling and being all embarrassed that I couldn't master it for the life of me. When I was a kid, I used to skateboard, and I thought I would pick up snowboarding fairly quickly, which was not the case. I saw people going up the lifts to the hills, even little kids could do it, and I was frustrated that I couldn't go anywhere. I've been doing this for a few days and I couldn't get out of the snow park. I thought of giving up actually, and I remember seeing this girl coming down the mountain, and she was actually filming herself with a camera, absolutely fluid and graceful, like there was no effort. So I decided to keep trying. I had done only those group classes, like they shove, I don't know, like 20 tourists and they give an overview of the basics and off you go to the park and fall on your ass all day long. I decided to get a private teacher one day for 1 hour. Then she asked me to show how I was snowboarding so she could see what I was doing wrong. So I get up and I try to do a turn. I lean on my left foot to start doing the turn, and I panic and I immediately fall. Then she smiled and she says, and I'll never forget this, she said, "Oh, you're a goofy." English not being my first language, I thought goofy was something like silly, dumb, or, well, maybe there was no hope for me. And then she said, still smiling, try to do the turn on your right foot. So lean on your right side instead of your left side. Okay, I get up and go to the top again. I glide for a little bit and I try going on my right side. And to my surprise, I actually finish the turn. No problem. I do it again, now with my back against the mountain. And so I was looking down and I start doing the turn and leaning on my right foot and done. I did it again. She said, kind of bored actually, "Oh, that's all there is to it. You're goofy." Goofy, it turns out, is sort of a technical term in snowboard speak. If you lead with your left leg, you're regular. If you lead with your right leg, you're goofy. Go figure. And then I remember that when I used to skateboard, I actually had my right leg in front all the time. I had totally forgotten about it. That same day, I was actually able to go to the green slopes, which are the easiest ones. They are color-coded. And I came down the mountain with my new goofy pride. I do remember that first ride very well, but especially the end. I stopped at the bottom and I looked up. I had done it. Of course, it was a small hill in Ontario, very simple. But I remember that I had thought of giving up that same day. And if I had given up, I would have never gone up that mountain. And that mountain, green as it was, I remember thinking, this mountain is mine. Even gives me a smile thinking of it, even though it's goofy, haha, pun intended. So over time, I was able to go in more and more difficult parts of the mountain, and I learned new things, and I became absolutely in love with snowboarding. I didn't know why, but I kept going for it because it was fun. And I was always trying different things, trying to get better and better, reading about it, watching YouTube videos. And one day I caught myself actually going down on my last run of the day which is where most injuries happen. So I was going very slow, very casual, and I was actually daydreaming. I was not even thinking of the technique or wondering if I would fall. I was just looking at the sky, thinking of my graduate thesis coming up, and I remembered that girl with the camera, gracefully going down the slopes, not just enjoying the view. When you snowboard, you're always changing positions, and you have your body relaxed, and you shift your weight towards your what's called your heel edge or your toe edge when you're going to do a turn. And that got me thinking of the edges of our comfort zones and how, to use snowboarding terms, you're always carving your edges. And I realized that there are sort of three ways to engage with things when you're snowboarding, and maybe in other areas too. You can be super safe, just going down, relying on what you already mastered, what you know. And that can be very relaxing, but at the same time, it can be even a little bit boring. Or you can try things really outside your skills. I remember the first time I tried to do a jump. And of course, I fell, you were out of control, you were panicking, and you keep falling or hopefully not injuring yourself. But I found out that there is a middle ground, and that, I realized, is what I loved about snowboarding. You're always trying to find that balance, that space where you are not in your comfort zone, but you're not out of control. So you find these beautiful moments where you are present in the moment. It's like a meditation where you are at the edge of getting better and better and learning new things, and you're pushing and carving that edge. I tell this snowboarding story because today I realize that the same concept can be applied to creativity. I've been talking a lot about in this show about the following your curiosity idea and where it can lead. And of course, there's great transformation following your curiosity, but I think the greatest transformation is when you are at the edge of your curiosity. Let me explain. There are things that you know well in your job, in your life, or in your regular interests, and maybe you find yourself interested in a new thing, in this almost new obsession that you're sometimes even fighting against. There is an edge there, an edge of your curiosity. If you are brave enough to find out the balance between the known and the unknown and learn how to explore it. And I think those things that you are naturally curious about, but you can't put your finger on why, those are the things that your mind, your soul, your unconscious are telling you to explore. And if you do, I think those things can actually start a big revolution in your life as it did in mine. In my case, I have been reading and listening a lot about ancient civilizations, really ancient Mesopotamians, Egyptians, and even earlier things like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. And I came to realize that that interest was not very practical, because my work in fashion and things like that, or in world music, was not necessarily related to it. But I actually found that as I kept going, I kept exploring this subject, I actually want to create a new fine art series of photographs inspired by those ancient civilizations. And that interest actually found a solution, which I'll talk to you later about it, even in music. But I had to explore that edge. And after exploring it, I realized it would manifest directly in new directions for my artworks. So I'll leave you with that. I wonder what the edge of your curiosity is. What kinds of things are you actively pursuing, or even things that you're thinking of actually pursuing after thinking of it in those terms? I think there are great mountains for you to explore. All you need to do is maybe realize you are goofy. And so carve that edge, and maybe that mountain can be yours too. Again, my name is Pedro Bonatto. You can find me on social media at Pedro Bonatto with 2 T's. And I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.